You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, hit this live somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there, enjoying your day, making it positive. All right. Hopefully you guys aren't still stuck in the return lane or in the return line, returning some of those clothes and some of those electronics that ain't working right now. Hopefully everything's good and you're enjoying your day. Maybe getting some much needed R&R, much needed sleep, getting that nap in, because, you know, some of us still have that vacation, that holiday vacation going on right now. So if you're doing that, please enjoy it as best as you can and as much as you can. We got something very special for you guys today. We have a conversation that we need to have that I've been waiting and been wanting so badly to have on this show. And we're about to be very, very blessed to have a particular individual on the show today to talk about someone that I feel a lot of the world held near and dear to their hearts. We're going to be talking about Stephen tWitch Boss, a life that was taken so quickly and so unexpectedly, tragically as well. And of course, we got to talk about that because there's a lot of us out here that still, I think, feel that they're in the dark. Maybe they feel like they can't talk about certain things, say certain things because of fear of looking weak, fear of being made fun of, fear of looking foolish. And I hope, and I know that I say this a lot on this show. I say this a lot on this show, y'all. But I do want to say it is crucial that every single one of y'all that may feel that you are in the dark or that you feel alone, that you are not in the dark, you are not alone. Please reach out to a friend, talk to a loved one. Don't be fearful. You're not alone. Again, you are not alone. But before we get things moving, before we get this conversation going and everything, please do me a favor. All right. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your name. That would really mean a lot. All right. I know that a lot of people have been wanting to know some questions or wanting to know some answers to so many pending questions right now revolving around the tragedy surrounding Twitch's demise. We still don't know everything. We still have a lot of questions. And hopefully we can get closer to some answers in this conversation. All right. So please hit that like button down below. And also, please do me this other favor. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. You know, I'm out here in these streets working hard to give you guys the conversations and the stories that you need. So hit that subscribe button. All right. Anyway, let's get down to the nitty gritty. OK. Now, I appreciate everybody for being here. All right. For those of y'all who are starting to file in, feel like you're getting late to the party, don't worry. You'll catch up just fine. All right. But we're here. We're here to talk about this light. All right. Stephen tWitch Boss, 40 years old. And there's a lot of questions that are revolving around what happened that led him to do allegedly what he did to himself. Now, what we know right now, and of course I want to share these certain things with you guys, but from what we know right now, he went and checked himself into a motel just less than about a mile away from his home. He checked in to that motel the day before they found his body. His wife, Allison Holker, went out to the LAPD, ran to the LAPD and basically said, I have not heard from my husband. He left his car behind. This is very strange. This is not very like him to just up and leave without talking to us, without letting us know what's going on. We now know that he checked into this hotel. He took an Uber, checked into this hotel. He had a small bag. The very next day, or that same day, hours after Allison went to the LAPD, basically saying, where is my husband? I need to find my husband. He was found in this Oak Tree Inn motel with a gunshot wound to the head. Now, of course, a lot of us, many of us, are asking a lot of questions, wanting to know what the heck happened here, what led to him doing what he did. Is there something else going on here? I know that's what's going on in these rumor streets, going on in these streets. Rumors running amok, right? The rumors are running wild. People thinking that there's foul play here. So far from what we've seen and from what the autopsy reports have come back saying, they're saying that there is no foul play. But I know that these internet streets like to beg to differ, especially when it's somebody that we hear a lot about being filled with light, love, high vibrations, and being able to just exude the joy of dance through his videos with his wife, his kids, and even just by himself. So, of course, there's a lot of people that are wondering what the heck happened here. Even myself, I'm wondering what the heck happened here as well. We are all still reeling over his passing. And one person in particular is one of his closest friends that I'm about to bring on here. I'm very, very honored to have our friend, dancer, choreographer. He's worked alongside tWitch on projects, danced alongside him, and worked with him closely for 2 decades. So please welcome J. Chris Moore to the show. What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. First off, I want to say thank you so much for being here, because I know I can only imagine what you and your family, everyone else that's been affected by this news that's close to Twitch. I can only imagine. Oh, I just lost him. What the heck happened? I just lost him. Hopefully he'll come back. Hopefully he will come back. You're back. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. That was weird.
I don't know. That was weird. Okay. But I wanted to say, I can only imagine, given the fact that this is still fresh in everyone's minds, this only just happened a little bit ago. So I do appreciate you taking the time to come onto the show and talk about Twitch, and maybe possibly put some of these rumors and speculations to rest. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself real quick? Because I know a lot of people are wondering, who J. Chris? So, yeah.
Yeah, man, my name is J. Chris Moore. I'm a choreographer, dancer, creative director from Los Angeles. I've been active in the competition dance community for about 20 years now. And I've been active in and out of the LA dance industry for going on 14 years. Yeah, I've just been trying to, make my way in this dance world by trying to leave a positive impact with the classes that I teach. I had a studio in the LA Valley for about 3 years. And I had a dance company called The Mob since 2014. And we just trying to strive to just change the lives of dancers, whether they wanted to pursue as a hobby or pursue as a profession, and just try to instill morals, instill discipline, and just let people know that as an artist, you can do whatever you want with your craft.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, because, there's a lot of dance troupes out here, right? There's a lot of dance studios and all that out here. Not every single one is putting out that kind of positivity or trying to bring light into the world through dance. So that's a really amazing thing. I mean, it sounds like you a legend in your own right too,
I think it's the word legend, especially nowadays, legend, GOAT, all those things, they get thrown around. And I think really it's the impact that you make on people's lives in the present. We've all done things in the past that have impacted people's lives, but the consistency of trying to consistently impact people's lives on a day-to-day basis, and try to make sure that you're also still growing as a person yourself. A lot of people who like to call themselves leaders tend to like stop at a certain level and don't try to continue to better themselves so they can be the best person that they can.
Mhm.
And luckily, I have a really strong support system of friends that kind of keep me grounded, and just keep me in check and make sure that I'm still working on myself, so I can be the best person for myself. So then I can also be a better person for the people that I teach and the people that choose to like follow me and look at me as a leader.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's all about the village, right? It's all about the people you
Exactly.
sit down and break bread with every day. It's the people that you chop it up with. I mean, it's all it's all important, right? All that
Exactly.
positive energy comes from somewhere, right?
Very much so.
And it feeds off of something else, right?
Mhm.
So I'm with you 100% on that. Um, but you know, let's talk about the first time you met Twitch.
Man.
I know that was about what, 20 years ago,
Yeah,
22
man.
years ago, something like that. So
Yeah.
I know that might be a little bit of a stretch, but I'm sure it was an amazing experience. So tell us a little bit about meeting Twitch for the first time.
So I met Twitch, I believe it was 2002. We met at Chapman University. I was there a year or maybe a semester prior to him coming to Chapman, and there was a hip hop team that was established on the campus. And at the time when I was rocking with the team, I was kind of like I was the token I was the hip hop dude. I was the hip hop dancer guy. You know what I mean? I don't want to say the token black guy because it's not even at that sense, but I was definitely known as like, oh, he's the dancer. You know, I want to premise this by letting you know that Chapman University has an amazing dance program as it is, but at that time, hip hop wasn't as relevant within the scene because it was still new. So being a hip hop dancer on that campus, it was definitely a few select people of us. There was some
Right.
cool break dancers on campus. And Welcome Week was always a really, really big thing for us because that was when we had a chance to perform with our hip hop troupe. So I ended up transferring out of and going to Cal State Long Beach. Um, and what I did at the time was I tried to go back to Chapman because I still had some friends there that were still running the hip hop team, and I wanted to just kind of see make sure that I was still going because they really put a lot of work in that first year to get the team started. And when I went back, a good friend of mine, Jason, he was like, "Yo, you got to meet this guy. Like, you have to meet this guy. His name is Steven. He just got to this school, and he is just a crazy dope dancer, crazy dope. You know, he kind of like took your place. You know what I mean?" And I was just like, "You gonna take my place? That come on, bro, you ain't gonna take my place, really?" That kind of hit me. So I was like, "Yeah, I got to meet this guy. Let's see what this guy is all about." Because my boy Jason was super hyped about him. So he introduced us, and I see this guy. He's wearing a super long tall tee, some baggy Jabot jeans. I could barely even see his shoes because his jeans were so baggy. He had like bleached brown, blondish hair, huge spiked earrings, lip ring, and I was just like, "Who is this dude?" And the first thing he's like, "Hey, yo, what's up, dog? I heard you a dancer. Want to go session right now?" And I'm like, "Oh, you really about that life.
He's
You
ready.
you
Yeah.
were ready. Like everything that Jason just told me about what to expect, you are about that life." And but it was not even in a aggressive manner. It was just he just loved to dance. And he just loved to surround himself with people who had that same passion. So I was told that he even came up. That's how he met some of the breakers and the b-boys on campus. He'd be like, "Yo, I heard you're a b-boy. Let's go session right now." And it was never in an aggressive manner. It was just like, "Yo, let's just go exchange this energy. Let's just go be about this dance life."
Right.
So from there on, I had never really met anybody who that had that kind of energy and had that kind of passion for dance. A lot of the people that I had surrounded myself at the time with were just dancers by hobby, or they were just on their dance team in the medium right that time, and it wasn't really like, let's do this for a living, or I'm just kind of doing this on the side, but I'm really trying to be a graphic designer or something like that. But to meet someone who was just so passionate about dance, I knew that that's what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. that energy just pulled me in, and I was immediately drawn to him. And from that day on out, like we were like this, man. Like I was going to the dorms to meet up with him at least 4 or 5 times a week. And we would just be sessioning downstairs in the bottom basement of Chapman University dorms till the wee hours of the night. Like we'd be sessioning till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'd be like, yo, bro, you have class in the morning. And I definitely have class in the morning.
Right.
But if you're going to stay, I'm going to stay, you know? And that was just like this unspoken thing. And we missed a lot of classes. We missed a lot of those morning classes. But
Sounds like it.
But it was just the time in my life. It's just, I can't even remember any negativity because of the times that I had with him. It overpowered that. And I went through a lot of time. I went through a lot of loss in that time of my life. And I went through a lot of struggles. And I didn't really have the storybook dance life that a lot of dancers have. Like I didn't come up in a dance studio. I came from like a poor family, you know. So I didn't really get a chance to experience like that type of freedom to just go into a studio and be able to just express myself and learn all these different styles. I didn't really get that. I came from like a street dancer background. So I came from like a b-boy background. So
right.
To find someone who literally came from, you know, Alabama, moved across the country to pursue, you know, this craft, I was just like, if you're going to drop everything like that and make that move, then there's no reason why I can't, because I really ain't got nothing holding me back.
Right.
You know, and then I think anybody who's met Twitch can attest to, like, when you meet Twitch for the very first time, he will make you feel like you've known him for your whole life. He's so warm and so welcoming, and so he brings such a positive energy that it's contagious. You know, like how do you not want to be around that all the time? You know, and that's just the person he was. And the people who went to Chapman with him, the people who were in classes with him, all his teachers, they'll say the same thing. People who were on Team Shaka, which was the dance team at the time at Chapman, they'll say the same thing. He just had, the best word I could use is infectious. He had an infectious personality and just brought joy all the time. And even when he was stressing, like even we'd be talking about finals and you know, just little trivial things like, right. Girl problems and little things that, like, then it was huge, but we look back on it now like that wasn't worth stressing over, you know.
Isn't that usually the case, right?
Yeah, but it still was never like, it never shook his spirit, you know. Even when he was kind of low, it still wasn't low. It was still kind of like, you know, but we still gonna keep it pushing. We still going, you know, let's just go dance. Let's just go session. We'll dance it out. You know,
so like basically through college, you knew him through college up until obviously to present day. You've known him for 2 decades. Yeah. You're saying that there was never any moments you saw any roller coasters in his emotions, or I mean, I understand life is life. We all have our moments, right? Where we are high one day and low, you know, a week later, so on and so forth. But were there any signs of mental health struggles or anything of that sort starting off in college or throughout the time that you knew him? I mean, I feel like that's one thing that everybody wants to know.
Yeah, I feel like so, you know, like Steven had, you know, of course he wasn't from Cali. He's from Alabama. So he had a whole life before we even met him. But what I did have a sense of is that he was really recreating himself once he came to California, and he was really saying, like, I'm going to shape my destiny the way I want it to be. He didn't really speak too much on, you know, his past. We would have conversations, but like I said, because of his personality, he would always be tending to like but we would talk about things and he'd try to shift the focus to focusing on me and being like, okay, cool. Let's help you. And
I see.
He never really stressed. The first time I ever saw him kind of like have any like a glimpse of like depressive moments was when he got injured. Like he had to have knee surgery and he couldn't dance. He couldn't dance, couldn't really go to class, couldn't go to rehearsals. He was on crutches for a long time. And so that took a toll because we pulled his passion away, you know, and that should let you know right there, like that's how much he loved it. You know, and you can compare it to like an athlete professional football player who blows his knee out the first game of the season.
True.
And he can't, this is what we do. So that was, I noticed that was a time, but he bounced back really quick. He rehabbed himself faster. I don't know how he rehabbed himself that fast, but he got back on it. And when he came back, he was even more of a Super Saiyan than he was beforehand,
Right.
And then it was crazy because, even through like the letdowns of like being on he was on a couple TV shows and, like we all knew he should have won. And if he didn't win, he never let it shake him. Even, like the first time for So You Think when he didn't make it all the way and he came back and, it's like we were more upset than he was,
Right.
And he just viewed it as, I got to work harder. I'm going to get on again and I just got to be better. I got to be better. He never blamed anybody. He never, he always took accountability. He's like, if anything is happening, it's because it's in my control. I could have done better. I will be better the next time. And him saying that for himself, it motivated us because we're like, yo, bro, you're already the best of us. And if you can have that mentality, then why shouldn't we?
Gotcha.
And I know there was times in between jobs, of course, as working dancers, sometimes when the jobs ain't coming in or, we hear a lot more no's than we hear yeses, of course, so those no's can take a toll, but he just had so much, he had such a fighting spirit that the things that would usually make someone pack up and move home, he just brushed it off. And he was able to, once again, just keep on pushing through. And then you could just see all the things that were coming to him. Like, I remember when he first booked Hairspray and we were just like, bro, you're in a whole movie. Like, you're in a whole, this ain't Wade Robson. This ain't So You Think. You're in a whole movie and a musical at that.
Right.
And he just was just like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'm like,
it's a movie.
Yeah. I'm like, and so we're trying to tell him, like, I don't think you realize, like, we come from the dirt, bro. We're from the mud.
Right.
And you are like in a movie with John Travolta, a legendary like musical. And for him, it was just like, yeah, but it's just the beginning. There's always going to be more. I got to do more. Right. So the more that I think about it is I feel like he had a sense of pressure that he may have put upon himself. That didn't allow him to really appreciate some of the accolades that he had achieved.
It kind of sounds like he had obviously he had a very infectious, positive vibe about him, but he was also a go-getter. He was also, sounds like, of course, I'm going to be careful with what I say here and maybe lack of a better term, but it sounds like he was like a perfectionist. And a workaholic. And if you are not working, I know what that feels like. If you're not working, you feel useless. You feel complacent. And I could see maybe that being a struggle.
Yes,
of course, with Twitch. And then also the other part I see is nobody's worried about my issues. So what's going on with you? That's what it kind of feels like from what you're describing about Twitch. It's like he was busy working on he was always maybe pushing his own emotions aside and his own problems aside for everybody to aid other people's issues and personal problems going on. At least that's what it seems like.
No, that's nail on the head right there. Okay. I think it's a tricky thing. A lot when I'll jump forward to his passing.
Sure.
A lot of people want to drop the hashtags. A lot of people want to say check in on your people, checking on your people. And yes, it's a umbrella over. It's an umbrella statement. We should all be checking in on our people. It's easy to say that. But what happens when you say that and people are checking in on their people? Like the ones that were the closest to Steven, and I should have started this by saying like Steven was my best friend, but I can't say if I won't say that I was his best friend, because once again, like there's people in Steven's life before me that he has strong relationships with and strong bonds with. So he may not have, it was never like, I was like, yo, you're my best friend. And he was like, yeah, you're my best friend. You know, it was never one of those things, but I would say he was more of a brother than a best friend, you know, because when they're brothers, you don't have to say it. It's just something that you've been through enough things through life to experience and have an understanding of with each other to know that we're brothers, you know? And I would check in on him all the time.
That's what's up.
Because he did that with me, and I never we never had a one directional friendship or bond. It was always 50-50. And when he was at what he considered were his lows, he would let me know, and when I was at my lows, I would let him know. And then there was like a certain exception that I really hit rock bottom, and I was actually afraid to tell him. There was two people that I was afraid to tell. It was him and another one of my good friends, Jason Bueno. There were those two people specifically. I didn't want to let them know about the situation I was in, just because I didn't want to disappoint them. I valued Twitch's opinion. I valued how he saw me. I valued the light and the regard that he held me in, and I wanted to do the same for him. Right. You know, I wanted to be the person who, when everybody was asking about Ellen, I was like, well, I don't care about Ellen. How are you? You know, I mean, when people are like, oh, are you going to be, do you think Twitch is going to be the next host of the Ellen show when Ellen's done? I didn't care about none of that. I was like, yo, what do you want to do? How are you feeling? How's the family? You know, are you guys going to take another trip on the RV? How's mom's? How's your bro? Like, that's the stuff. That's what I want to, how are you doing? You know, we would talk about things like journaling, you know, like, because we admitted to each other. It's hard for Black men to just be vulnerable and say how they feel. So we would just,
facts.
Did you journal? Did you write something down? Did you write a verse today? Did you write it? You know, like, because I would tell him that I have a trouble journaling, so I would just write songs. I would write verses, and that'd be my way of journaling. And he would be like, "Yep, I journaled today. I did this." He would be like, "I just, you know, I rented some space at the studio just to go release." You know, so we were very, very adamant about expressing how we were getting through our things. And he never hinted that there was anything that detrimental to me. So when I see people post things like, yeah, make sure you're checking in on your people, it's easy to say it, but it indirectly hurts, because at the same time, it makes it seem like the people who were close to him weren't checking in on him. You know, like, I promise you, like, you know, Kurt Cobain's friends were probably checking in on him. I promise you, you know, any famous figure that had a close circle was checking in. You know, like, it just seems like it's so easy to say that, because when you don't know what to say in a situation, you just say something that may have been like an echo chamber. But I just really wanted to stress that to any of the viewers that are watching this, like, you know, like, really, really understand the power that the words have, and how it can be taken in multiple ways, because a lot of people love Twitch. Twitch had a lot of fans, but there was a lot of people around him that loved him dearly. And I go back and forth saying Twitch and saying Steven, because I know him a certain way, but I know the general public knows him a certain way. So I want to make sure I address him to how each person has their relationship with him. But people checked in, and the people who are dropping these posts on IG with the reels and the pictures that they have with them, and the memories, and when you see them smiling together, like, those people checked in with Steven. You know, we all loved him dearly. But I will say that he definitely was placed on a high pedestal by us. We held him in such a high regard that I can definitely see the pressure wearing a toll of him not wanting to disappoint us, him realizing he is a light, and he don't want to do anything to dim his light, because he feels like he doesn't want to let us down. And I feel like that may have been a demon that he may have been battling. I don't know, because he never voiced it, but I can only assume as much.
Right. I mean, it almost seems like with great power comes great responsibility. That Spider-Man thing, or heavy is the head that lies the crown type of situation, where it's just like, I just want to be Steven. I don't want to be Twitch anymore. Or I just want to be a regular dude for like 2 seconds. I don't need to be, oh my gosh, it's him. I don't want to be popping and locking right now. I don't want to perform. I just want to eat my meal and enjoy my day with my kids and, with my family. I can see I could see where someone at a celebrity status could have that kind of frustration for always having to perform. There's that imposter syndrome that I think a lot of celebrities go through as well. Even though they're doing it, they're not really an imposter, but they still kind of feel like, why am I being gifted all of these blessings right now? Why am I being the one being put up up so high in the air right now, when there's so many other people that are so good, so on and so forth? I could see a lot of that coming from just a lot of artists and creators out here that find success and just feel like there's a moment where they just feel like they don't fully deserve it. But real quick, let's talk about Ellen, the Ellen Show, and the closing of the Ellen Show. Did he ever talk to you? Because I know obviously there's been a lot of conversation of, are you going to take over? Is it going to be the Twitch show? Is it going to be this, that, and the third? Was there any type of frustration, or, was there any issues revolving around that show coming to a close and Twitch with that transitional phase? Was there any issues with Twitch on that?
I know I don't know what I should and shouldn't say based upon, I don't know if the things that he was talking with me was in confidence, as far as like he shouldn't have been saying anything, or if it was just general information.
Yeah.
I know that he wanted to pursue something where he would have a lot of creative control. I know he would always tell me, with Steven, it was always on to the next. There was always something next, always working on something, always like, I got these concepts, and I just really want to put these things in development. And he knew he was perfectly capable of being a figure on television. It was never about, I'm going to take Ellen's spot. It was never about me even taking the reins or making something new. It was always about creating something that he just loved. And when the perfect project came around, it would be the right time. That's what he would tell me. Like, I was like, so do you want to do your own talk show? And he would just be like, I don't know. If I did, I have to do it the right way. And he would, that's what I want to stress. He would always say, I want to do it the right way. Do it the right way. His way,
right?
Yeah. And I don't know if his way was necessarily if he meant his way. I just think that he just wanted to make sure that he already knows that he always knew that everything he did was under a microscope. So it's almost like, putting a black man on daytime television as a host, on a network like that. There's a lot of eyes on you, and there's a lot of expectations, and it's almost like people almost want you or assume that you're going to fail. And if you do fail, they're like, yep, see, told you, I knew it was going to happen. So he wanted to make sure that everything was done the right way, no matter how long it may have taken. He's like, when it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. And I would leave it at that, because I knew that that's what everybody was asking him, and going back to what you said, when I talked to him, I just wanted him to be Steven. I was like, you don't got to be Twitch right now. Gotcha. What I mean? And so he was very, very sad when, I'm going to say, like, right before the last season started filming, like, I asked him, and he would start posting a lot more on his story, because he really wanted to document the journey of the last season of Ellen. And I was just like, man, I would text him and I'm like, bro, your posts are making me a little sad, bro. You got a bro over here. You got to be tearing up a little bit, man. Right. And he was just like, it's the longest closing of any chapter in his life, is what he would say. He was just like, usually, So You Think You Could Dance, when it's coming to an end. Wade Robson, it's only a certain amount of episodes. It's only one season. Star Search, it was like, I don't know if I'm beyond this episode or I'm going to get kicked off this episode. So there was always something that was immediate. But he said that last season of Ellen, it was so long that he never really took the time to really let it set in at one moment. It was just like a continuous, like, let's just appreciate this whole last chapter before we close it. And it was never in a sad, that was never like depressing. It was always just like remembering the good times and being very, very grateful. And even when Ellen was going through all of that stuff with her, he never let it phase him. He was her. He rode for her. He was like, no, she's I thank her for so much. She's such an amazing person, you know, regardless on what her relationships with other people may be. I don't speak on that because I only care about what my relationship with her is. And I respected him for that. It would have been really easy for anybody to be like, hey, I don't know what she doing. That's she over there with that and I'm over here. But it was never like that.
Right.
He was always just like, no, like, I'm very grateful of everything that she's provided me with and the opportunities that I have had to grow and become a figure and not just a dancer. Like he became a public figure. So he's just always just so gracious about that. And I always told him, I was like, bro, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You want a show, you can do it. You want to go stay on TV, you can do it. You want to do another movie, you can do it.
But no issues. Like he never showed any inner turmoil, no, you know, moments of self-doubt or anything of that sort within that transition between the Ellen show closing and, you know, whatever he was going to be doing from this point on.
I think the biggest concern that he had was making sure that he was going to be able to pivot. And because all he cared about was taking care of his family. You know, he loved being a father. He loved being a husband. He loved Allison dearly. He loved those children dearly. And he just wanted to make sure that whatever he was doing, he was like, okay, I just got to make sure I can still provide. I just want to provide. And I want to give my children things that I never had and help them, you know, live in a better world. You know, he didn't want them to have the same type of dramas and struggles that we had with our generations coming up. And he wanted to provide. What's up, Kobe?
Mm-hmm.
Kobe.
Oh, I see. What up, Kobe?
He just trying to get in the mix.
Yeah, he was trying to get in that conversation. He's like, I know him too. Let me
see.
He always gave me treats. But no, and so I'm glad that you mentioned the family, his wife, and everything. Can we talk a little bit about Allison and tWitch's relationship? Obviously, you've known him for a very long time, so you knew him before he met Allison. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, how he was after. What was their relationship like?
Like, to be completely honest, I'm not really that close to Allison.
Okay.
When tWitch and Allison started dating, I was kind of in a different place in life, and at the time, I felt like he was doing he was going up so much and he was skyrocketing and all the opportunities were coming to him that I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want to be like a speed bump that would stint that. I didn't want to take any focus away from the climb that he was making. And when he told me that he would start dating Allison, the light that brought to him, it changed him. You know, he was over the moon, bro. He loved Allison from the jump, bro.
Yeah.
Like it, and so what I wanted to do was I was like, I want you to enjoy this new chapter in your life, and I want you to stay devoted, and I want you to focus on this and see where it takes you, man. And so with my relationship with Allison, I really have only had a handful of like conversations with her.
Gotcha.
Just because of schedules and stuff like that. And when me and tWitch would link up, we would need to link up somewhere else, you know, like we would just meet up at studios and sessions or just have phone calls and stuff like that. So what I will say though is, man, she made him a more better person than he already was. She gave him purpose. She gave him focus. She gave him drive, stability. And she gave him like a sense of, I guess she was like she completed the dream, you know, like there's the artist dream, and then there's the dream of like what you want for your set life, what you see as like a perfect life for yourself. And Allison is everything that he wanted, you know. I would sometimes ask about their personal life just to make sure he was okay, just when we were checking in. But I never really wanted to kind of get into that aspect of his life, just because it's something that's personal. You know what I mean?
But so
So,
you tell me that y'all never went on, like, I don't know, went on dates, or you went to go see the movies, went out to dinner, grab some drinks, go do a dance session together. I mean, enough to really have a conversation with Allison. And I mean, obviously you saw how much she made him happy, but there was never enough time for you to really get to know her.
it was more so on my end. I would just focus on just kicking it with Twitch more so, and hanging out with Steven. And I was doing a lot as far as me pursuing my own dancing stuff at that time. So as far as kind of like the whole double date stuff and stuff like that, it was never really like something that we did so much. They had like they had their own, I guess you could say, like really close circle of friends within that aspect. So I just kind of like, we just focused on me and Twitch's friendship, and in that sense.
There's something interesting too, though. I also noticed as well when two friends, especially when I see on single friends, men and women. I always notice that as soon as someone gets caked up, suddenly the friendship changes a little bit, because they're now on a different trajectory, right? Now they have a partner and they're doing all the partner couple things, right? And that kind of separates the single, like, if you're a single dude, I think it's a little bit of a different language, different lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Which could cause a little bit of a little change, right, in that relationship, just a tiny bit, because now
It wasn't weird, because I believe I was in relationships for those times as well.
okay.
I just think it's because of the direction that his career was going. That was more so the separation. It wasn't him being in a relationship with Allison or anything like that. It was honestly like he was doing a lot with his career, and she was also, and it seemed like they were living more of a parallel. So it went from them just kind of like being individuals to them being like a power couple. So that's really what it was. It had nothing to do with like any type of like, oh, he's in a relationship, I'm single, or anything like that. It was just the way that kind of like the careers were like pulling, and I started to focus on more so pursuing my job, like my career as a teacher. So that's really what my focus kind of deaded into. And then he was like, okay, I'm trying to do these movies, I'm trying to do all this good stuff. So that's really
Hollywood,
what
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
Very Hollywood, glitz and glamorous and all that stuff. So I get it. It's a different business, and it's a different business track as well.
Yeah, you just scheduling became different, and that's really what it was. It was
Gotcha.
we were just like, okay, well, we're going to make sure that in all this craziness with scheduling and stuff like that, we're still going to make time to like link up when we can. And that's why that's pretty much why it was me focusing on the friendship with Twitch and not really getting too invested with them. It was just more so, let me make time to still kick it with my boy and still keep that sense of normality, I guess you could say.
I gotcha. Were you able to go to the wedding?
Yeah, went to the wedding.
Oh, you were at the wedding. Cool. Okay.
Wedding was active.
I bet it was. I bet it was one like a scene from a movie. Everybody just breaking into a choreographed flash dance, for crying out loud. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it was a good time. I'm sure it was a really, really good time too. But okay, so and I understand that. I mean, dynamics change. Obviously he's in a different lane in business. You have a different lane in business as well, different passions as well. Work can move people a little bit apart, but can still keep you guys connected through those phone calls, text messages, so on and so forth. So obviously you guys had a very wonderful and tight relationship for 20 plus years. It's a long time. That's a long relationship. So I know that there is something that has been floating around here, this rumor, and I want to see if maybe you can help confirm it, debunk it, whatever. Of course, I'm asking this with all due respect, but there's been rumors about bipolar disorder with Stephen. Is this true or not? Did you know of anything as far as his mental health, if he was ever diagnosed with bipolar disorder? Because that's one thing that is just flying like crazy out here in these rumor streets. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
No, I can't even speak on that because that's nothing that I can even confirm. Because, like I said, there's just a lot of rumors, and most of these rumors are going on about people who really didn't know the man. So that's just something that I wouldn't even try to even speak on.
Gotcha. I totally understand that. Well, since we're already talking about that, or at least we're veering down this lane, we got to get into this. And I do have to ask you, where were you when you found the news out about Stephen?
I was home. I woke up to it, and it's just something that no one wants to start their day with, and it's just it's to say it's not the first time that I've been woken up to news about death. So it's like it's a reminder of how precious things are. It's a reminder of the importance of like telling people that you love them, because you never know what the next day is going to bring.
Right.
And like where I was when I received the news it's not as important as like really figuring out if there's anything else that needs to be brought to the light, because like when I found out through headlines, it was just like I was more so just like how is this all happening so fast, and it was just I was just in shock. I'd still in disbelief, and even now, like I still like try to snap my fingers and wake up from this like it's not real, but
right.
But yeah, I just would rather just focus on the light that he brought, and all the good that he provided, and all like the good times and all the lives that he's changed in a positive manner.
Of course.
That's just what I try. That's how I'm going to choose to honor him and remember him, is thinking about that, because that's how we can continue to keep him as an icon.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember your last conversation with him?
Yeah, we were supposed to actually hang out. We were supposed to meet up that following Friday.
So you guys were planning something in the future. So you guys had plans to meet up later on, like later on that week, it sounds like.
Yeah. So
what were you guys going to do? What was the plan, if you mind me asking?
We were supposed to meet up for dinner. Yeah, just meet up for dinner and just do our regular catch up.
Wow. And of course, obviously, the shock of all of this, just like for everybody else, we're all obviously very thrown off about this. It's heartbreaking to hear that there was plans for something. So for him to do what he did is still shocking, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Because at least he was planning something in the future, right? He had plans for something, and then this happened. So I have to ask you this other question. It's another thing in the rumor mill. And they have been talking about in the tabloids and all that stuff. they were basically saying something along the lines of his financial issues. Was there any conversation about his financials?
And I think that's not even what I want to even make this like about.
Right.
Like I said, I stay away from all the tabloids. I stay away from all that stuff because it's hearsay, you know. Um, if it doesn't come from the people who are closest to him, then it's not. It's not relevant. It's probably just hearsay. It's just people making up stuff, and
Right.
nah, man.
Right. No, I understand it. Of course, I appreciate you even just answering these questions because I just know that people are out here saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, there's speculation. Some people are darting their eyes towards the family now. I mean, it's getting crazy, and getting out of hand. And when we look at this and we hear this news, all of us are shocked by this. It's I think we just need I feel a lot of us need to know what it is, like just see this as it is, which is this was just a moment in time, and I still, even myself, and I don't even know Stephen. I don't know him at all, but I'm still just as shocked and still have so many questions about this as well.
I think I think you said an important thing when you said you don't know Steven. And that's the thing is a lot of people knew of him, but a lot of people didn't know him. So the rumors and all that stuff, like people shouldn't even be really speaking on that kind of stuff because I understand people everybody has a different way they cope. I understand, people want and need details and need stuff, but like they have to understand that you got to respect this man's family. You got to respect this man's friends.
Right.
You have to understand that a lot of us, like, we're never going to be the same. Like he had the most impactful meaning to a lot of us, and he made us the people that we are. He made us believe in ourselves. He made us see, inner champions in ourselves, and that is what we hold dear. So when people want to speculate and people want to just throw out conspiracy theories and just say like their 2 cents, I understand that people just want to say stuff because some people want to be in the know.
Right.
But I just want to stress respect his family, respect his loved ones, and just honor him in the light that he provided to the world. And like, if you got to cope. If you need to feel everything. But don't ever try to tarnish this man or say he was anything other than, or speculate he was anything other than one of the greatest human beings that has graced this earth. He was literally an angel on this earth, and we are blessed to have been able to experience, having him in our life. And people like him don't come around often. And all I could say is that he did so much work and so much good for so many people that, God, the universe, Allah, whoever it is that people want to praise to, felt that it was time for him to come home because he did so much good and so much work. And it's just up to us. It's up to the ones who were impacted by him to carry on the legacy and spread the joy and spread the light and spread the positivity, and do our best to remember him in that light and not let anything else, all this extras, like all that is just, nah, it's not. If you care, if you truly care and he truly made an impact on you, then you just focus on the good and not even worry about all the other stuff, because there's a lot of people who are hurting. There's people who are going to have wonders. I have questions, but that's not what's important. What's important is remembering him and honoring him the way that he would have wanted to be remembered. Every night I look up in the sky and I see a single star, and I know that that's him looking down and watching over. And I know that same star is watching over his family. And my love and prayers go out to Allison and the kids and his mom and his whole family. And I just want them to know that I love them dearly. And you have a strong support system of people that love you dearly, and we care. And We'll never let Steven's legacy go down in vain, and we're going to continue to like carry the torch, if we will. And he just wanted everybody to be the best they could. So that's the best thing that we can do, is just continue to be the best. And a good friend of mine said, be 1% better every day. And that's all we can do, is just try to be 1% better. And now I have a new focus to not only be 1% better for myself, but I want to be 1% better for Steven every single day as well. And that's kind of like, that's all I could really like leave it as.
No, Jay, that's beautiful. I appreciate you saying that. Because there's obviously, I think that's the tragedy of one taking one's life. There are a lot of unanswered questions, right? There's a lot of why, what happened, and you'll never get that answered. The only thing you can do is like what you just said, and I hate to repeat what you said, but to lean on what they left behind, the energy that they left behind, the positivity, the light, especially Stephen Twitch Boss. Exactly. What he left behind is nothing but light, love, good vibrations, and the joy of dancing, and how infectious he was when he got on camera and, did a number or two, right? That's an amazing gift. That's a God-given gift. That's not just something that he learned. This is something that he was blessed with. And you're right. It is something that we should be leaning on and looking at as well. But I also do think that we also have to realize that if it's okay to just piggyback on what you said, to have more open conversations, especially amongst us men, being willing to talk, allowing ourselves that room to heal, that it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to speak your feelings. Like you were saying earlier, I loved how you were saying, like, you guys would journal, right? You guys would ask each other, have you journaled? Have you written a verse? Have you did you do this, that, and the third? I feel like there needs to be more of that kind of brotherhood out here, more of that connection, more of a conversation between men being able to talk, not calling each other soft, not trying to emasculate each other because we're in our feelings, allowing us to go through those healings so that we can go through that dark tunnel towards light and be on the other side of that and saying, I got through that. I got through that, and I got through that with my brothers, or I got through that with my friends with no shame, right?
Exactly.
And I'm with you 110% with that. We need, and I could sit here and open that up to both sides of the gender spectrum. Okay, we all need to start giving ourselves more room to heal, more room for forgiveness, more room to speak out and talk and say things without judgment, without ridicule, without being humiliated. Just being able to speak what's on our minds. But I do know that the rate in men has skyrocketed over the past few years. It's only getting worse. And we need to find a way, us as men, just on this topic or in this conversation alone, we need to find a way to drop that number and be more vocal. Not with our fists, not with weapons, but with our words.
Yeah. I think it's dropping the fear of vulnerability. And there's things that are instilled in us, like you said, if you get if you talk about your feelings, it makes you soft and But we have no problem dropping ties to the old ways with other things. So why should we not drop these ties to the old ways with this? Our health and our well-being. It's the only thing that we can carry day to day. And it's something that the mind is a powerful thing, and we got to make sure that we have no problem trying to exercise and make other muscles on our body grow. So why not make sure that they're taking care of this muscle in itself,
100%.
So I want to say that, I have a reputation of being, really, really stern, really being outspoken about that life. But I really want to stress to anybody, you got to keep your mind right. Even in your most stern moments, you have to look back at yourself and be like, okay, how am I doing? We ask people, hey, how you doing all the time? But we don't really ask ourselves, how are we doing? How am I doing? And what can I do to focus on myself and keep my mind right? It's just it's simple, but it's not. but we got to keep our mind right, you know. And yeah, like it's especially as Black men, it's hard to do so. But I encourage all my brothers out there to like really kind of drop that inhibition and really, especially when you have people that you feel close to. I'm not saying just walk around and start telling everybody your feelings and don't let everybody. Don't let everybody. I will say this: do not let everybody in. But
Facts.
when you have people that you say, "I love you," if you can tell someone that you love them genuinely, then you should be able to like confide in them. And if they say they love you back, then you should really be able to confide in them. And we got to take care of our mental. We got to start, looking for signs. Also, is a big thing. Sometimes we go off of people's words, and we don't go off of their body language, or we don't go off of the things that they may post on social media, and like we don't look for the in betweens. But we really just got to be like more aware of what our friends are saying, what they're doing, how they're feeling, and taking ourselves out of our own situation and just focus on really making sure that we're good mentally and our loved ones are good mentally as well.
Absolutely. I got a super chat here really quick. Gypsy Girl, thank you so much for the 20. She says, I want to say thank you to Jay for your time. So thank you, Jay, as well as Pascal for providing some closure to some of those of us that knew him from afar and felt a significant loss. Again, of course, first off, Gypsy Girl, thank you so much for that. And yeah, I feel like a lot of us we just got a lot of questions, a lot of burning questions, a lot of things that we're just trying to understand. But I think that's what the case is when someone, unfortunately, passes on so unexpectedly. There's always going to be pending questions that I don't think we're ever going to know. And I think the only people that really are going to know, as Jay said earlier, I agree that it may only be closest family, his wife. I feel like they're only going to know really what's going on. I mean, as we already have seen, I'm just going to throw this up really quick. Obviously, there was a note that was left behind. Now, we don't know anything, right? They just say about alluding to past challenges, but I think that that's something that I think the family's going to keep fairly close to the chest.
Yeah, as they should. That's not.
Yeah.
It's not for people to know, and it's not for people to know, and it's not for people to speculate on. It's not. It shouldn't be the focus.
Yeah.
It's not. We all are going to have whys. We're all going to have questions, but that's not the focus needs to be. The focus needs to be on moving. How we're going to move forward from here, and if anything, what would Stephen want us to do?
Okay. So then I one question on that then, because there are people still, even in the chat right now, still feeling like this was that something else happened, that this was not a self-inflicted situation. What are your thoughts on the people out here that think that this is not that there was foul play involved? What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is don't focus on that. Once again, I'm always going to come back to focus on what you loved about him and what you liked about him. That's it. Yeah. That's really that simple, because if you care that much to have the whys, then have that same care to know like that they will want you to be a better person, and they will want you to continue enjoying your life and then continue spreading positivity. And that's the best thing, rather than focusing on these questions that we don't know answers to and we probably will never get answers to.
Right.
Focus on
what he left
continuing what he left behind. Exactly.
Absolutely. Got another super chat really, really quick. All right. Leela, thank you so much for the 20. You could tell a lot of someone's character through their friends. And you, Young King, just give us a window in the amazing soul that left this world. God bless. And yes, I agree. It's all about who you break bread with. It's all the company that you keep, I think. And yes, you've been nothing but a gentleman, Jay. So I do appreciate you coming on and chopping it up with us about this whole thing and talking about Stephen, Twitch boss. There's a lot of things, of course, that like you said just a second ago, that we're not going to have the answers for ever, and may never know anything else except for what happened in that motel room. And yeah, I think it is that time that we just respect his energy, respect what he left behind, and focus on the bright light and bright energy that he left behind. So, Jay, I do appreciate you coming on and talking with me about this. I know it was really hard. And it says a lot about you coming in and just talking about him and saying so many beautiful and wonderfully positive things about Twitch. It does really, really mean a lot. So thank you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you for your time and thank you for the opportunity.
Anytime, my brother. But hopefully, actually, can you let everybody know where they can follow you? Because I know that some people are asking if you have like a YouTube channel or, IG, TikTok.
My IG is my name at jchrismore. But it's not really. I appreciate if there's any interest in me, but I'd rather just put all that focus to, honoring Stephen, and if there's any things that happen to do with his name, honoring his name, just keep doing that. Love to his family. Give them time, give them space, let them heal, and let them mourn the way they want to. They're going through a lot, so I just say respect the family, please. And just if there's any I don't know, I feel like we need to have some type of something to honor him in some way. So anything that comes up in the future, whether it's like scholarships or anything that's in his name, like just anything that we can do to continue to honor him. That's just how I want people. I think that's what I want people's focus to be. It's not about me. I just want to keep it about him and keep it about him in a positive light. So thank you to anybody who's shown interest. But at this moment, I just really want to just keep all the positive light around Stephen.
Makes sense. One last thing, though, and this does have to do with you, but what are you doing to heal yourself during this time of this tragic loss?
Just keep pushing one day at a time, stay positive and just keep them with me and focus on my loved ones, focus on my friends and cherish them, and still, focus on making sure I keep my mind right.
That makes sense. Well, hey, man, I hope you stay up, keep thinking positive thoughts. And again, God bless you, man. I appreciate you coming on and talking with me about this. It really does mean a lot.
Thank you, man.
I'll be talking to you soon. All right.
Yeah.
Peace. So one thing I want to say, first off, I do really appreciate J. Chris Moore for coming on and talking with me about all this, because I can only imagine. I mean, this is one of his close friends, someone that he cares for, loves, etc. I can only imagine what he and let alone all the other people that were close to Twitch, close to Stephen Boss. I can only imagine what they're all going through right now. And so, my thoughts and prayers go out to every single last one of the people that have been touched by his videos, by his dancing, by his energy. However you've been touched by him, I hope you all are finding some time to heal for yourself, because that's something that we all need to do for sure. All right. But that is the show, guys. I wanted to say thank you again to Jay for coming on, gracing us with his insight, his thoughts, being able to talk about these rumors, debunk a bunch of them for sure, but also to just bring the conversation forward of being able to have a conversation, being more open about our emotions, being more open about what's going on in the inside. That's extremely important, y'all. Okay? Without that, we have nothing. Without that, we are all just going to stay in the dark. So, real quick, so I can let you guys go, please be sure to hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. All right. Send those likes all the way up. Let's get that story out here. Let's get that conversation out here. It's much needed. All right. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.